Welcome to Checks and Balances. I'm Michael Vincent. This is James Blair. And today we've got another episode of our Money Month specials. And this one is on ways to budget.
So budgeting. Newsflash in life. If you can't budget, you just ain't going anywhere.
It gets a pretty bad rap, let's be honest.
Yeah. So one of my favorite sayings at the moment is if you can't manage $50,000 a year, you have no right to manage $300,000 a year. Now you might go to me, well, James, what the hell does that mean? 300 grand would sound pretty good to me. The idea is Mike and I have more clients than we would like, where a hell of a lot of money comes in, a hell of a lot of money comes out. Maybe they got a big house. Maybe they got their kids at private schools. Maybe they got a batch. Maybe they got a sweet Range Rover. But there's no money going into investments. They are rich. Yeah. They are not wealthy. And budgeting is fundamentally about, like we spoke about your goals last time. You need your budget to be able to help you achieve your goals. And budgeting is about money comes in, money goes out, but there's something left over. And that amount left over goes towards your goals and making sure you're on track.
Yeah. And we do, lots of seminars and webinars with different customers and businesses, 6,000 people around the country, I think, in the last whatever many
Is that just
months.
one webinar?
Yeah. And at the start, we used to tailor the budgeting stuff to the audience, thinking, like these people, they're all lawyers.
They'll know what they're doing.
And actually, it turns out that we are all as bad as each other with budgeting. And I would say, we've talked about this before, probably 20% of our customers realistically know where they are spending their money, how much they are spending on it, and have the budget sorted out so that they have a goal. Well, when they come to see us anyway.
Yeah. And budgeting, like you said, Mike, gets a really bad rap. And I think it gets a bad rap because the perception of budgeting is I'm missing out. So I can't go and do the fun thing because I'm in a restrictive state where I cannot enjoy myself. I've got to be miserable so I can achieve this thing down the road that I don't really care about. You have meaningful goals, it might help you go a little bit further. But
the word has negative connotations to begin with. Right?
Yeah.
Budget food, budget airlines, it's all just, you're cheap if you have a budget.
Cheap. Yeah. Oh, I've definitely been told by customers I earn too much money to budget. Budgeting is not about restriction or about cheap. To me, it's about clarity.
Yeah.
So if I annualized where your money goes, are you okay with it? If I told you how much money you spend on clothes or food or dinners out or holidays or coffees, the answer needs to be in a good financial headspace. I understand I spend money on that. I get value out of that. That makes me happy. And it is not stopping me from achieving my long-term goals.
If you spend 20 grand a year on dinners out and you enjoy that and you get utility out of that, but you're still achieving your goals, well, knock yourself out. Go for it. Like you've got to make these things sustainable, right? And when we talk about budgeting to people, we always talk about our 4 mason jars approach. And there is 1,000 different ways you can cut a budget. You can use Excel, you can use PocketSmith, you can use automatic payments, whatever you use, that's great for you. Fundamentally though, James and I are quite simple people when it comes to money. We want our customers to have, simple ways to manage their money. If you're spending 20 minutes a week worrying about your money, that's too much. You should be able to manage this and your budget a lot quicker than that. So when we look at our 4 mason jar approach, we've got your fixed expenses. So that is everything you need for your day-to-day life to live. That is rent, power, water, food, mortgage, the gym, if that's a fixed expense for you as well. Everything that is just my day-to-day running costs. We've also got your fun jar, which is this has to be sustainable. So, if you just eat chicken, broccoli, and rice every day, by day 3, day 4, I'm going to Domino's. I want a pizza. There's got to be something in there. You've got to have an emergency fund as a jar as well, 3 to 6 months of your expenses. We do have an episode coming up on how to build an emergency fund, so look out for that if you don't have one and want to know a bit more about it. And then the last jar, James, what is the last jar?
The last jar is helping you get ahead. So the rest of them are just living in the moment, paying your bills, having a bit of fun, putting some money aside for when something goes wrong. This last jar, and linking back to the goal setting episode we did yesterday, is about going, I need to save X amount per pay to achieve my goal in whatever period of time. So that money might be going towards, paying off your credit card, or putting into savings to buy for your first home deposit, or putting into a managed fund for retirement, or topping up your investment property, or going towards KiwiSaver. Whatever it might look like, that savings jar is the only jar that's helping you get ahead. And I hear the same thing all the time when it comes to budgeting is, James, I earn good money. I don't spend money frivolously, but I do not understand where it goes. And I'm sure you see that when it comes to, you're doing mortgages.
I like, honestly, and like it's the same for me as well, right? To a degree, like, I'm like, oh no, I know where my money goes. For a while I had no idea where it was going, literally. And I was, you earn good money, and when you talk to people about it, they're not lying to you. They genuinely believe, they're like, I just don't know where it goes. And I'm like, if I sit down and show you the transactions, which you never go through because it's embarrassing, you don't want to embarrass yourself. Honestly, you'll see and you'll be like, oh mate, instantly you're like, it's here, it's this $6 thing here, it's this $4 thing here, it's another round at the pub, it's all of these things that add up, and that money just goes straight out the door.
Another round in the pub's not on my bank statements.
Not at the moment.
No. So the part around, I don't know where my money is going. Once again, I really want to make this month about taking actions. And if we think about what actions you can take, we're going to talk, Mike's spoken about the kind of automation, which we'll touch on a little bit in a second. But if we think about the actions you can take, the first piece, a really good starting point, is you will have an after-tax income every fortnight, every month. The very first thing you need to do is write down all of your fixed expenses. So how much money goes out just towards my fixed bills without me having any control, any fun, any choice. You might want to look at those fixed expenses and go, are some of those able to be reviewed? But knowing what percentage of your income is going towards fixed expenses. Because the problem is, people say to me, James, what percentage of my income should I be saving? What's a good rule? And it's like, well, if you're a 22-year-old bloke who lives by yourself in a flat of 5 versus a single mum earning 70 grand a year.
What am I going to give you? The same percentage? There is no rule.
It's like kind of, people want one size fits all, and it's just, that's not how it works. So you need to know your percentage, the percentage of your income that is going towards fixed expenses. Mike was talking about the mason jar approach and the automations and setting up automatic payments. With this approach, the idea is each fortnight when you get paid, money will automatically get split into the different bank accounts without you touching anything. To go to the next level, in that fixed expense account, you want automatic payments or direct debits flying off for each of those bills. And then you never, ever have to touch your fixed expense account, which is, it's just making it easy, making it, if you're lazy, it's perfect.
No, but look, seriously though, there are some pretty good tips around this. So look, if you're not great at saving, have that savings account at a separate bank. Don't have an FPOS card or a debit card linked to it because you're just tempted to, spend on that. If you have an emergency fund sitting there or your savings and you don't want, if you have a mortgage, maybe that should be sitting in a revolving credit or an offset account because that'll stop you from...
Surely we're going to do an episode on revolving credits.
But look, it should stop you from paying interest. And then the big one, when you get a pay rise, adjust the budget before you get the money. That lifestyle creep is a real thing, and it is detrimental to people hitting their goals. Everyone always says to us, thinks, if I just had $10,000 more, if I just earned $20,000 more, if you can't manage 50 grand, there's no way you're going to be able to manage 300 grand. It is as simple as that. A little bit more money will just get spent.
Yeah, and I had somebody come to me who is very close to me and had to go at me about my thoughts on Afterpay the other day, being like, you don't get that my situation and that I have to use it because our financial position is so tight. And I said, let's do a budget.
Yeah,
and literally we
show me your budget.
We found $5,000 a month,
and that's the thing, right? Very easy to blame something else, someone else, other things. After I've got to do this, what is the fundamental step? Have you reviewed this? Do you have a budget in place?
Yeah. And the answer is, it does not matter if you're listening to this,
Mm.
if this is your first job or you're 60 or in retirement. If you're in retirement, you need to know how much money you're spending to make sure it's sustainable throughout the rest of your life. If you're in your first job or somewhere in between, you need to set up a budget to set goals, and then know the budget will help you work out how long it will help take to achieve the goal.
Yeah.
And it's a very straightforward formula is if you can't save enough money to change the goal, you either need to change your saving habits or change the goal.
Yeah.
But the aim of the game with budgeting is not about missing out. It's not about cheap. It's not about restrictive. It's about clarity and giving you fuel to move forward and achieve your goals. So as we wrap up, action time. Your action for this episode is to write down all of your fixed expenses, put them into a percentage of your net income so you know how much money you've got to work with, and then have the conversation. How much money do we want to set aside for fun? Let's start building that emergency fund, which we'll talk about soon. And then link your budget and your amount of savings to the goal that you have and work out how long it will take you to achieve your goal. And as a really good step, you've got clarity straight away, right?
Yeah.
You know either the budget needs to change or the goal needs to change.
Yeah, 100%. All right. And join us tomorrow for the next episode, which will be on how to build an emergency fund. Cheers.